And welcome back to Comic-Jon.
Woo!
It is part 2 of 2 review Joker. Clark, you had a chance to see it?
I did. I was able to see Joker on Saturday night. Marty York, The Sandlot.
Wow. Look at
And
you.
I went in there with big expectations,
Yeah,
and I
I was worried.
left fully satisfied, like a Tangerian whore. That doesn't make any sense. But I felt very um, invigorated by this film because it's one of those
Right?
rare instances that the hype surrounded it, except for all the pro-violent shit, because it's not a pro-violent movie. That's all bullshit. But I felt like all the hype around it was justified, and it was great. And I left agreeing with you of what you said on part 1 of the Joker review, that Joaquin Phoenix may be the best acting performance you could see in a lifetime. If he doesn't get the
Yeah.
Oscar, they should just put a big sign around Hollywood that says closed, because they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
That was like an actress film. You know what I mean? Just so good. But yeah, I thought it was great. I don't have any. The only complaint I have about the film, I think it might have been like 30 minutes too long. I felt like some parts they kind of dragged out a little bit. There was like a lot
Yeah.
of filler time, but that's small. Um, Overall, I thought it was
Right.
great. I thought they nailed it. They gave you everything you wanted to see. They gave you all the little Easter eggs. Spoiler alert, of like
Right.
seeing
Spoilers.
Wayne. Uh, all the things you remember from Batman, like pivotal parts of when, Thomas Wayne and his wife were killed in front of Bruce Wayne, like they throw in there. Uh, they kind of highlight Alfred in one scene, like a younger Alfred and a young Bruce Wayne. Uh, but it's the Joker's film, and it was great. It was great.
Clark, try standing a little farther away from your mic.
Yeah,
I think that thing is so sensitive that you're so close that your voice is like drowning out itself.
that's just how I sound. I had a stroke. Why do you have to make fun of me? How about here? Am I here good?
Yeah, that's better.
Here? Okay,
Um,
good.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. And I wanted to check and see if you picked up on how they basically were playing with the idea that Batman and Joker were brothers.
I fixed the camera part, this part. It's a new feature of Skype. Sorry to derail us. Yes, but say it again.
What did you say?
The camera issue with Skype. You have to like
Oh.
manually make it bigger now, as opposed to just dropping it before.
Uh,
Cut off radio.
Oh, wow. Yeah. If
Wow.
you're still with us, you did pick
Hi.
up on the fact that they were kind of playing with the idea that Thomas Wayne was Joker's
Yes.
father, aka he's Batman's brother.
Yes, and I didn't see that coming either.
Me neither.
That was a knuckleball from an Oakland A's 1970s dugout. But it was really crazy how they played on that, because they left it ambiguous enough. Again, spoiler alert. Uh, Arthur Fleck's mother supposedly had an affair with Thomas Wayne, but you don't really know if
Yeah.
it's not. Kind of alludes to that it is, but there's a lot of like people in Wayne's inner circle that's like, oh, like Alfred, that's like, oh, it's delusional, it never happened,
Right.
but it may have, and they were
Right.
dancing around that like a
And
like a
then
Charleston chump,
like a
and it was
tiptoed
perfect.
angel, like a ballerina. They even did like these flashbacks where it's
Yes,
Joker's mother. I think her name was Penny Fleck.
Penny Fleck.
She was younger and she's like, "Oh, Thomas Wayne made me sign all that stuff." Like that's not true.
Right, yeah,
So that's like
influence.
right, like that to me. But see, that's the genius of it. The whole movie's ambiguous because there's these theories out there that the beginning when he's at the hospital and then at the end when he's at the hospital, he just tells a story. And he
Right,
tells the story of how he became the Joker. So there's all this like ambiguity to it. Because if you think
yeah,
about it,
it works.
he's in every scene,
Right, yeah, he's in every scene
right?
of the film. Um, Yeah, you're certainly right. There's like the ambiguity that works. It worked in The Dark Knight, how the Joker, how Joker lies about constantly about his past and how he became the Joker. He's like, my wife, she cut up my face, and my dad beat me. And with this, they kind of play on that storyline about how Joker, he kind of waves in and out of how,
Yes.
and some of it's true, some of it's not, but it's left mostly to interpretation.
Multiple choice.
Yeah.
That's, the thing about the comic book. And um, I think it would be amazing because they're already talking sequel because it made 97 million in the opening weekend. It broke every October movie record
Oh
there
yeah.
is, supplanting the number one first day record held by Venom for just a year. Uh,
Right. October.
it would be amazing if they do the same thing, but a different origin story. Like it's
Of
him at the
course.
beginning and then it's him at the end, but in the middle of the movie is this crazy transformation of this guy that turns into this lunatic. Like they
Right.
could do so many different ways of that.
I don't see
It'd
how
be
they couldn't.
so cool.
Right. I don't see how they couldn't or wouldn't do that. You know, I could
It'd
see
be
them they're
amazing.
just going to keep doing that because the formula works. And that actress, by the way, that played Penny Fleck, she's great. I forget her name, but she was
Yeah.
also the mother
She was
in,
in Bloodline.
she was in Bloodline, and she was in Castle Rock as like the crazy mother. She plays like these great, crazy older woman roles. Like it works. You believe it.
Yeah, she's
Um,
always cast as the batty old woman.
there's a few parts in the movie where I found myself laughing out loud. And I don't laugh at movies, not even like comedies. It takes like a lot. Like I'm laughing inside, I'm enjoying it, but it takes me a lot
Oh,
to be like,
really?
ha, ha! I just don't like do that. It has to
Really?
like really bring it out. There's a few
I'm
parts.
usually always the one that laughs, like at least once or twice by myself in a
Oh,
completely crowded theater.
see, it's funny. I felt myself laughing a few times at parts that weren't intended to be funny, and I was like, oh, sorry, sorry. And people kind of looking at me like when he goes, the two guys, the midget and the other guy, go to Joker's
Yes.
house. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, oh, my mother died. I'm celebrating. I was like, I started dying. And then when he's, spoiler alert, when Joker's killing that guy with a screwdriver over and over, and the midget's like, oh,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
why? I started dying. I lost it. And even Marty's girlfriend was like, "No, like I was like, I'm thinking of something else. I just, for some
But it
reason,
was
that hit a nerve
so
in me.
perfect. Like that was such a comic book movie scene where it's like he's all calm and everything's okay. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden he's stabbing someone in the neck and he's covered in blood and he's sitting on the ground and for some reason like has no urge to kill or be evil at all. It was
Yeah, it was
so
such a
great when
comic book
the
scene because it
dwarf,
was like one clip, one page to the next frame. And then he's like,
right.
"Let me get that for you. I'll open it for you," because
Yeah.
that little midget was kind to him. But I felt
You're always nice to me.
it was so good. It didn't feel, it just didn't feel, nothing in the film felt like forced or rushed. Or you know how like a lot of superhero films, or at least some of them, they'll like play on the fact of the character. Like they'll make it kind of campy and do stuff. They didn't do that. I felt like
No.
it was a standalone film from everything else, and just everything worked in this. Joaquin Phoenix is the man, though. That performance, from the weight loss to the laugh to the all of like little idiosyncrasies. I mean,
Dude,
I don't know how he doesn't win the best actor Oscar for that. I don't know. I don't know what other film could contend with that performance. I haven't
no
seen.
one, no one. Okay, look, every Joker iteration has had a laugh, but they were all, it was always like a controlled thing. In this character, they make it like a condition where when you're watching it, you're just like hoping that, okay, that's the last one. That's like when you, when you like have a cough and you're up at night with a cough and you can't, and you cough and cough and cough, and you're like, okay, I think that's like the last one. And you're laying there, and then you feel that tickle again, and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna have to cough again. I'm so tired. That feeling throughout the whole movie,
Yeah.
every time he's
Good
like
call.
laughing uncontrollably, I was so impressed. I was just, it was such a great idea to make it even more realistic. Like this
Yeah.
guy who is just just going crazy also has this condition where he can't stop laughing. It's too perfect. It's almost like it's
It
better
works.
than the guys who created it.
I agree. I think it's better because it works unintentionally in the fact that he's uncontrollably laughing, and there's that again that like ambiguous, is he laughing because he's crazy or because it's just the nervous
Right,
tick, and he
right.
can get away with it, which is kind of like another level of being dangerous. Like, no, he's allowed
Yeah.
to laugh out loud and crazy. When he
And
killed, I'm sorry, go ahead.
when he hands that lady the card because he's
Yeah,
laughing when she yells at,
please return. I'm
and
gonna start
it
carrying a car with that.
it
Sorry, I have
was
ADHD. Sorry if I don't give a shit about what you're saying. I have attention deficit disorder. Please return the card. That was like, man, are you paying attention? In like a meeting, are you listening? I just give him the card. ADHD, injury from being born. Please return.
that
Can't pay attention. Anyway, yeah. No, the card to the black chick on the bus.
that is genius.
Genius.
Um, but it was just like handing the Joker card. It was like the
Yeah,
first, like I was
it's
hoping that
Joker.
eventually he would be doing it and he'd be laughing and somebody would be like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And he'd be like, "Oh, here's my card," and be a Joker card because it's just a joke. Like he has no,
Right.
he doesn't
I thought
care
that too.
anymore.
Yeah. That that's how it's going to evolve with the Joker card. When he killed the three like Wall Street Wayne Enterprise guys on the subway, that was a perfect,
Oh
to
yeah,
me, perfect scene of a metamorphosis from
yes,
like guy struggling trying to like get through to crazy because the first two were in self-defense, and then he you wanted him to kill the other guy, the third guy, and then you see him like peek his head out of the subway and like hunt him down, and you're like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
they gave you what you want to see. Um,
So good when those kids are like singing to him and he just keeps laughing. So
you
it,
feel
it was
sorry
like
for
it
him.
was like you feel sorry for him, but you are getting excited because you're like, oh shit, like
You know
something
who
bad is
is.
gonna happen, but then like he's gonna turn here. And I was not expecting a bullet right through the head to take that first kid out. I was like,
The, the coup de
yes.
grace. Uh, I don't need to keep saying spoiler alert. I think we know this
No,
already. So
yeah, and I'll tag it on the post and everything.
um, the end of the movie when he takes out uh, De Niro's character, um, I knew he was going to do something. I didn't know he was going to do that, and that was so good. The aftermath of the riots, because it was kind of like an Occupy Wall Street thing going on, where like the lower class and
Right,
the people are like kind of rebelling at this point over the
right,
corrupt Wall Streeters,
right.
was so good. And they played one of my favorite songs ever, Cream's White Room, when he's in the police car. And I was like, this, I was so
In the
jacked up.
wide room.
Yeah, it was so good. But
I love
when he
that
took out,
scene.
yeah, so good. And in the studio when he was going close to the camera, and then they cut off, and then they transitioned that to like the violence in the city.
Yes,
Perfect. I wanted more.
dude.
I wanted it to be like another hour at that point. I know I said earlier I felt like it was too
Right,
long at parts. That was more like first half. I felt like
right,
the end. I wanted more of that. Like it was so good.
right. Like that's what I keep hearing from some people. They're like, it took too long, the build up. I was like, yeah, but that's what the movie really was. It was like
Yeah,
8 Mile. It's
I don't
like
think it took too
the
long to build
rise,
up.
the climb.
No,
But
I
yeah,
thought
but
the build up was good. I just thought there were like some parts that were just like they kind of dragged on too long. But that was
yeah,
it. That was it.
the way he looked when he was finally in the on the show, like on the talk show, and with Murray
But
sitting in the chair like a guest, like a lot of classic Joker scenes from comic books and cartoons. Like Joker takes over television. That's like what he does all the time.
yeah, right.
And
Yeah, right.
I thought he was maybe gonna gas the audience, but the
That's
fact
what
that
I
he
thought. Like he
tells
was
a
going to do
knock
something to the
knock joke,
audience. Like a bomb would go off or something like that.
right?
Like I thought something was going to happen, but then he just shoots him in the head, and I'm like, wow.
And I love his joke was like, what do you get when you combine like 17 or like a lifetime of neglect and abuse with a world that just is even more abusive? You get what you fucking deserve. Shoots
Right.
his head off.
The coup de grace.
So insane.
And
And
it
then
was
he's
very
out there.
symbolic. It was very symbolic too when the other like clowns during the riot picked up his body after the accident and put him on the police car and he rose. It was
Yeah.
basically like these villains lifting him up to like another
Yes.
level of like status at that point
Yes.
as like an arch villain. Like he's an arch criminal at that point. Um, when he's in Arkham Asylum at the end and he's smoking a cigarette, singing the Frank Sinatra song. Um, I did not expect him. Uh, I did not
What was he
expect them
saying?
to show. He was singing "That's life,
Okay.
that's what people say."
All the people
Rotten
say.
in April, shot down in May. I did not expect him to kill that woman and then be shown like running from the orderlies at the end. I thought it was just going to fade out there. They showed that it's like an extra, like it was great.
He
That's
kills
exactly how I want
her,
to see it.
but they don't show
They don't
it.
show
They
it.
just see him walking out, and his feet are making completely red footprints. And
I
he
know,
just
which is
walks
better.
down, and he turns down the hall. Then all of a sudden, he's running one way, and then the orderlies are chasing him another way.
Dancing. Yeah, it was like the old films where you see them like running in and out of doors. It was like a an homage to those old like comic films where it's like, comic like. It's funny.
Yeah,
It's great. It was a great film.
yeah, it's classic. There was like a lot of classic, like you said, Easter eggs, like parts where I saw this before, but not from this angle, not from this point of view. Like,
Right.
especially the end when he's with De Niro on the talk show, and they're in the the camera angles from the crowd, so it's kind of like you're squinting to look and see closer because nobody in the audience really knew what was going on. They were like, "This is that shitty comedian. Like, what's he doing here? And why is he dressed like a clown?" Uh,
Yeah.
it was
Can
just
you like just
so
be as Joker?
perfect.
I was like, Joke, I like it. Let's well done. Joker, let's
Yeah,
do it. I laughed at that too. I don't know why, because De Niro was such like an old, like out of touch guy in this
yeah,
film. He's like, oh well, we'll go with Joker. Good for you,
uh,
kid. You know?
yeah.
Oh,
Like you're
okay,
playing along with us making fun of you.
okay, kid. We got it.
It's
Uh,
amazing that the name Joker is like, I don't know, like I guess trademarked or
yeah.
it's just it's funny.
Yeah.
Joker, the
Joker.
most well-known villain. His name is Joker.
It's Joker.
It's like that's the
The
life
verb.
right there. It's pure irony.
Yeah. Joker. But it was definitely a good film. It definitely worked.
Oh,
Everything about it was original, you know?
do you think
It was juicy. It was
the
titillating.
makeup was slightly different than the typical Joker? Normally, what we see is the
Yes.
green hair,
Yeah.
the white face, the red lips, and that's it.
Caesar
Heath
Romero
Ledger
Joker.
did the darkness around the eyes, but that wasn't major, and he added the scars. Uh, Leto added tattoos.
Right. He
Nicholson was a
reminded me of my
classic,
father.
but this one was weird because he colored his nose red and put blue triangles on his eyes, so it was a little different.
It was a little different in the scene where another like kind of far-fetched Easter egg. It's open to interpretation. When he meets the young Bruce Wayne at Wayne Manor, and he puts on the little clown nose and it hides, disappears, and pops up, is like a throwback to it because it always shows up with the nose and like appears and then disappears real quick and it makes a funny face and like lures a kid in. That was like a little
Oh,
tribute to like it, like very
oh,
small because they're completely different universes. But that was like it was resonating with people, like the creep factor. Like this
isn't it
is
amazing? Right now we have Joker, It, Harley Quinn, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey, like clowns,
yeah, they're back. The Birds of Prey trailer looks really good
evil
too.
clowns. It's
Yeah,
so funny. It's so reflective of our
it,
times. An
yeah, the
evil
clown.
clowns.
Oh, but John, the
Crazy.
economy's doing great. Okay,
What do
let's
you
reelect
think
Trump.
about
By the way, was it your brother that texted the Trump thing this weekend? I assumed it was Ryan.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't have his number, and I was just like, who is this?
Yeah,
I saw 215. I was like, probably right.
man.
But I'm just curious. Good.
What else? Hold on. Now, look, I didn't want to draw like a lot of attention to this, but I just
No.
wanted to give my take on how the media is trying to. I hate even saying that because this is what Trump thinks they're doing to him. This is where it's actually happening. People are trying to get a name for themselves. So they're going to talk about what's popular right now. What's popular right now is the Joker. And guess what? Everyone loves the Joker. It made 93 million this weekend. So they're
Love
going
it.
to talk negatively on it. And they're going to say, hmm, this town questioned if they should even air the Joker in their theaters because there was a shooting here 2 months ago. It's like, okay, then wait a second. I need you to keep an eye on all the other movies that are going to be coming into your theater because guess what? There's no way Joker is the most violent one of all of them. Like
No.
Terminator 6 is coming out soon.
Yeah, that's why we have rating systems. If you're an adult enough to be able to buy a film, you should be educated enough to make your own assessment. If they were
That's why
saying,
it's
okay,
rated R.
if 10-year-olds were allowed to go see the Joker, we have a problem. Okay, kids shouldn't be exposed to that kind of violence at that age. That's why there's ratings. You can't get in without a parent. And if
Yeah.
that system falls, well, then shame on them. It's not up to the studios or America or the politicians to say, you can't do this. That's where censorship comes in. That's where like Soviet Russia comes in the 1960s, where people can't think for themselves, think for them. No, it doesn't work that way. And there wasn't one shooting, by the way, in this film. There wasn't one act of violence in any movie theater because of the Joker. Have you heard any shootings because of this film? I
No, I
haven't.
haven't. I heard I'm kind of vague on my memory here, but I believe that I remember reading they stopped something that looked suspicious or could have been bad.
Yeah, in Manhattan, some guy was laughing a lot at the movie, like I was.
Yeah.
I guess I should
Uh,
have stopped. I made a joke about that too. I was like, I guess I should shut up. I fit the profile. I'm a skinny white guy, you know. That didn't go over well either. Um,
I will be
but
honest. I was nervous at the end, like when all hell breaks loose and he shoots the guy and the crowd's going crazy and he runs out. That whole time I was looking at the exit like this.
were you? We're
Yeah, I
scared.
was like, fuck, 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 fuck. But guess what, man? There was like
You're
12
like a
people in my
superhero.
theater.
You're John, man.
I had an exit plan.
Good. I spilled a beer all over somebody. I kept getting Marty beers because he was like blacked out. So I was like, "You want another beer?" He's like, "Yeah, Corona." And his girlfriend's like, "Another one?" And he's like, "Well, Matt's buying them. I don't want to do it." So I came back and I'm pretty sure I spilled a beer over like an entire row. And you just hear like, "Hey!" And I'm just like, "Hey, I'm with the guy from the Sandlot. It's okay. You're a celebrity, right?" He was blacked out.
Oh no, he doesn't remember
No,
any
he
of it.
does. I don't think he was blacked out to the. I mean, we talked about the film afterwards. We
Oh,
talked about like mental illness, and his girlfriend is like a psych major getting her master's in psychology. So she's like, "That's the problem." And we were talking about like the medication. If you remember the Joker, they take away his meds and all the shit goes off. That was kind of a slap in the face to the healthcare system. Like, oh well, want to cut funding? This is what you get. You get psychos. You're cutting
right.
off mental health. Look at all
Yeah.
the shootings today. But to your point about the shootings, though, the violence, um, you're so right. Everyone's gonna put a name on it, and people just want to ban things, and it's that makes people want to see it more. Some reporter wrote like, "I wonder what this is going to say to these disenfranchised young white males that have never been laid. Go see this movie. Are they going to shoot something? You know, you shouldn't see this movie. This is irresponsible." And I replied on Twitter. I said, "I was on the fence about seeing this movie, but now I'm going to see it and promote it on my show and encourage people to see it because it's such a dangerous, slippery slope to want to ban films you've never seen because they might cite violence. That's every movie in the world. I guess we just can't have action movies because they're violent.
Right.
I mean, it's stupid.
I
You
just
don't
don't
have,
understand. It's like, well, what about every movie The Rock is in?
or every movie like ever made. You can take any film ever. You can take The Passion of the Christ, a movie about Jesus, the most pure being ever. Be like, well, all the violence in there is going to encourage somebody. you could take apart anything. It's all in context. If you're stupid enough to have a movie incite violence, the problem is you, not the film. You can't hold them responsible. Like Helter Skelter, the Beatles song. I know I'm rambling right now, but Charlie Manson committed all those murders because of the song Helter Skelter from the Beatles. Is that John Lennon's fault? Paul McCartney's fault?
Right.
No, certainly not. It's just it pisses me off so much when the media is it's too violent. You can't
It's
see it. It's art. It's a
it's
comic.
it's clickbait. They're
Cartoon.
using what's popular, taking the what the hell's the word? The minority point of view,
Yeah,
and they're tying it to something like emotional. So it's like I get mad because I'm like, I know what you're doing.
it's
You're
irresponsible.
you're doing Lex Luger as the narcissist posing in the mirror. Like who
Right.
doesn't hate that guy? I know what you're doing, Vince. You know, of course I'll root for Mr. Perfect over him.
Of course.
Um, but look at this. Here's all the movies that
Like my Lloyd
that came
Christmas
out
haircut going on today.
in 2019.
No
Your
gel.
Lloyd
I got Lloyd
Lloyd
Christmas
Christmas.
going on.
Oh yeah, you do sort of.
I'm sorry.
Another month it'll be Lloyd. All right. Here are the movies. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Didn't see it. Any violence?
No, I'm gonna wait for that one to come out on DVD or
Yeah.
streaming. I wanted to see it, but I just never got around to it.
Spider-Man. Violence. Gemini Man. Will Smith is on the cover with a gun.
Oh yeah, young
Uh,
Will Smith,
Rocket Man. Movie about a drug addict.
and it has the word rocket in it, John. It's gonna inspire me
Yeah,
to do
it's going to
something
inspire
bad.
me to set off a rocket in my backyard.
A rocket in my backyard.
Avengers Endgame, pretty violent. Captain Marvel, pretty violent.
Violent.
Frozen 2, they fight, she has superpowers. Godzilla, pretty violent. Cats, don't know. Adam's Family, pretty violent. Shazam, pretty violent. Pikachu, pretty violent. Glass, violent. Child's Play, violent. Like, what the fuck?
They're gonna inspire
You're
people,
just
John.
you're just jumping on the popular horse.
If you want, right? If you want to fix the problem, let's tackle gun violence by not letting everybody or anybody just get a gun. Matthew Clark, John Hassinger, we shouldn't be able to just go buy an AR-15 tomorrow with 1,000 rounds. I shouldn't have access to that, but I do. I could go buy one tomorrow if I want. The good
Dude.
thing is, I think most people know, most people are responsible. They're not going to shoot people. That this it's stupid. That this kind of censorship is stupid. You know, I think it's dumb. I think it does boil down to a bunch of sound bites and media
Yeah.
people and certain government administrations being like, "Let's issue a warning. It's violent." Um, but they're not actually saying, "Let's ban this movie," because they know they're not going to win.
Right.
So that's the good news is that people aren't really buying into the bullshit. They're just headlines.
Right. That's
Click.
what makes it even worse. And that's why I'm not going to argue their point because we both know that they're insane and it's stupid
Right.
to interpret
Yeah.
a movie to make you murder someone. Like that's such a simple brained idea.
Right.
It's just I just wanted to talk about what they're actually doing. They're just they're
Yeah. They're
click
insane.
titling,
It's insane.
title baiting,
By the way,
controversial title.
very controversial.
Who knows what
Subscribe
they
to the
believe?
channel. Click the subscribe button right
Right.
here. Comic-Jon. The Comic-Jon YouTube channel is evolving into sort of the main apparatus of the. There's like the Podcastle, then there's like Comic-Jon. But Comic-Jon is like
Yeah.
its own beast, and I think it's great that more people are like watching. I see the views are up, and it's sexual. No, it's not sexual at all. But I just like to promote the word sexual whenever I can. But it's evolved, and it's a good discussion to have. Leave a comment in the comments here about all this censorship they're doing. 'Cause to me, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, and let me know what you think if they were gonna do a sequel, what would they do? Would he just be a villain? Would he face Batman? I feel like Batman's not gonna be a part of
Right.
this universe. Todd Phillips already confirmed that
I agree.
the Robert Pattinson Batman isn't gonna be in this world. So, but I feel like that will happen,
I do
you
too. I
know,
think it's too big. I think at first they said no, but now
right?
they're like, we got to
It's
fucking do
huge.
something. It made $93 million in the first day.
Right.
Like they have to do something. You
Right.
have to
And
you
like,
have to follow that.
I think Robert Pattinson is like tied up in something right now. So that's not coming out for like 2021. So like
Yeah,
there's a
the Batman.
lot of time in between for them to realize how much fucking money they can make if they put Batman in the sequel to Joker
They have to.
and finally get this thing right.
I love Robert Pattinson as the Batman too. Like
Yeah, I
I
know,
used
me
to kind of
too.
look like him. He gives guys like me a chance at this age in
Mhm.
life
Oh yeah.
that we can still like become a superhero. Speaking of
Yep.
superheroes, I started since we're talking more and more about this, I started brushing up some of the films, and I the other night I watched, in John's opinion, the greatest superhero films ever. 2006's Superman Returns. Brandon Routh as Superman. Have you watched that? It's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to watch that film. I've watched it 3 times, and this is the only time I finished it. It's a struggle to get through that. It's too much going on that doesn't
Right.
like
It's
work.
busy. It's very busy. They're like, well, let's do all the Superman stuff. And then it's like, well, nah, let's do something new. But wait, we got to do all the traditional. Is that the one with Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's great in
yeah.
that. He's great.
Yeah, he was
But
good Luther.
I feel like just what you said. Like I love Man of Steel. I know that was like a lot going on.
Yeah, that
And
was
that was, but
good.
that's a fun movie. But Superman Returns, this is the first time I ever like really finished it. But it's just what you said. It's all right, let's do coming back. Lois Lane moved
Right.
on. But let's do this because this worked in all the other ones. But let's go this way. And it like doesn't know which way it's going. Before you know it, it's like 3 hours and it's over.
I wonder if this is going to be the new trend. It's like we've seen the superhero origin story to death. Everybody was okay with Spider-Man just appearing in the
Yes.
MCU, like we didn't need
Just
his
showing up.
fucking origin story again. What if they start doing origin stories of villains and just have the good guys show up?
I'm
Because
sure
there
they
are
will.
no bad guy origin stories. The
No, this
best
was
one is Darth Vader.
yes. And this was the trend
That's
now, I
happy.
think, is going to be villain origin stories because they've done like the Superman, Spider-Man, Batman origin story to death. Um, and I think you can only get away with that unless it's like a fresh reboot. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, do like the first 30 minutes or something like that. Okay, you should want to see that if you're like a true fan. But how much can you do that? And think about the villain origin stories. Like, let's just take the Penguin. Like imagine developing that over time of how it became the Penguin and how like dark that would be. Take uh
I know you can't see because the lighting is bad in here, but it's just all over the floor.
the
I
Batman.
need to get a mop because there's gray spaghetti all over the ground because all I was thinking of was how cool would it be because that's what Gotham was. It was like the origin story of the Penguin, the Riddler, Catwoman. And I mean, it was on a small
Yes,
scale, but
right.
what if the movies did that
And how
in
cool
this
would that be?
way?
And it works too. The reason the Joker worked, one of the many reasons Joker worked, was of how dark it was and how realistic it was. Like this is a fucked up guy that had a really, really bad life, like being abused
Yeah.
by the stepfather and all this stuff. And uh, they really, really get into that. By the way, I noticed the Batman sign behind you.
Yeah.
What
Oh
is
yeah, the
that?
bat symbol. Isn't that cool? It's like a night light.
Oh,
Like you plug it in and it shines the symbol on the wall.
oh.
Isn't that cray? I've been trying for like 2 years to figure out how to have it in the background, and I figured for this Joker episode, I'm gonna dim the lights, nice dark and dreary like Gotham, and have the
It's,
bat symbol shining,
it's
and the
pretty
Captain America
amazing.
shirt on. It's a
I
big
wanted to
clusterfuck.
I wanted to do a reveal in the show, if I may. There's a lot of purchases I've made over the past, yeah, I don't know, year, 2 years, 3 years of Amazon drunk purchases. Um, I like to during drunk times, I like to buy gifts for John. This time I didn't buy a gift for John, but I did acquire something that I want to reveal in the show and get your first reaction. Say goodbye to the next 3 months because you're getting Jedi Challenges,
Oh
the
no.
virtual reality Star Wars game. And I've already sent this to Hey Ashley on Facebook, and I said, heads
Oh
up, this is
no.
coming. If you want to veto it, It's coming. You can get rid of it because I hope Jeff and Daddy are coming down to watch Hannah because this is going to tie up like 2, 3 months of Daddy time.
They are. They're coming down Thursday.
Perfect timing. But this is coming your way, and I
What
want
about the
to
goggles though?
come with it. So it's all everything's included. You just need a
Oh
cell phone.
no. Oh
Um, but I really
no.
want to get your take on this, and I feel like it should be a Comic-Jon episode because it's so ridiculous to watch people play this when you're not in the game. It's just someone in a room moving their
God.
phone around like an idiot, but it's
Oh
hilarious. But when you're
my
in the zone,
God.
it's great.
Oh my God. We have to end Comic-Jon on that note.
Yes.
Make sure you click here for our last video that we did. That's part 1 of our review, the non-spoilery review. That was before Clark had seen it. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and if you're curious what goes on around the Comic-Jon segments on here on YouTube, check out the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and Roku at the _Podcastle on Twitter.